We've been chatting to the distributors, Mouser Electronics and Farnell, to find out what they're doing, how they've been coping with the component shortage, what new technologies they're looking at, and how they're coping and bringing them into their supply chains, what they think about what the next year holds, and a variety of other sundry items which you can only see by watching the video next. So do enjoy.
The market's been absolutely phenomenal for 2022 for us. 2023 we're beginning to see some slight changes, so we're seeing some freeing up on the passive side of the business and the interconnect side of the business, and more products becoming more available. But still, from the semiconductor side, which drives a lot of our business, over 55% of our business, we're still seeing shortages, we're still seeing long lead times, we're still seeing allocation, and I predict that certainly for most of those semiconductor lines, it's going to be another tough year for most of it. Now, whether that's going to be for 6 months, 9 months, or a year, I don't know, but it's sort of probably going to change. But certainly as we go into 2023, the first part of the year is going to be very much like it is now for semiconductors, in my opinion.
Where we still see demand is in the semiconductor market, because there's obviously still some shortages in some of the higher end products, processors, the microcontrollers, things like that. We see that continuing through at least the mid of 23.
Customer loyalty is a big thing, Clive. I mean, I still think if people can buy it from where they've always bought it from, they would do that if they could. But there's a lot of people with a lot of inventory sitting there, whether they're a manufacturer, either an OEM or an EMS, and they actually have to build boards, because if they don't build boards, they don't get any money. So the loyalty does get stretched to if I can find inventory somewhere in the marketplace, then I'm going to do that.
I mean, obviously we look to see where customers have existing demands, but really we're looking at where's the next evolution, what are people going to be looking for, because we're at the front end of the design, right? People come to us for their prototype builds or small and medium type builds, so we have to be there with all the NPIs. And I see a lot of areas like AI and edge computing. Those are the things that are getting a lot of traffic right now, because if you think about it, engineers, we're not getting more engineers to work on a product. That one engineer still has to work on many of the exact same things and incorporate technologies. Think about the one that designs a washing machine. He now has to include wireless capability, voice recognition, things like that, while just designing a control board to run a motor, right, and a display. So they have to have all these new technologies. So what we see is, and what we're investing in is, and our suppliers are investing in, is solutions. Because if you think about a wireless module, one of the reasons Raspberry Pi has done so well is because they actually have the certification of the wireless module on their boards. It's the same way for any kind of product. The more modular you can make it, easier to implement, that's where we see things going. In terms of the supply constraints continuing, we see that continuing for the short and mid-term, probably at least until mid-2023. It's mainly in the semiconductor market, but then we actually do see some signs of things starting to uplift again in terms of the overall market. Because if you think about it, we're not getting less technology dependent, we're getting more technology dependent, and everything has a plug or a battery, and that's just going to drive continual innovation.
We're in a great position as Mouser. I mean, we got 895,000 customers worldwide, so we see a huge base of customers. So what we find is that the best way for us to address that is to get our inventory right. So we got around about 17% of all our inventory now is new parts. So that really does help to drive the innovation. So we continue to do that, and as we go forward, we're adding new warehouses to put more inventory in, which sort of gets around most of those types of issues.
I would think, such as Farnell, we only deal with authorized. We go direct with our suppliers, so we generally don't get involved in anything that's not a direct with our suppliers, so we don't have to worry about the counterfeits. And that's one of the reasons that people come to Farnell, or distributors like Farnell, because we don't deal with that. That's the last thing that a customer needs to worry about.
And product life's pretty good. I mean, if you go back over the years, I mean, the product life and its life cycle of it sitting on a shelf is probably now certainly improved from just about everybody. The quality that comes out from all the manufacturers we deal with direct is top class. We very rarely come across those types of things, apart from things getting better rather than getting worse. So I don't perceive that as being a big issue. Yeah. The current supply and demand out there, Clive, just gets going through that. For us, it's been an ever-changing last couple of years, to be honest, but it's improving. It has been very, very tough. We've got some manufacturers who've supported us very well through this. I won't name them, of course, that would be very unfair. And, some have been great, some have not been so great. But what we're seeing is that those that are freeing up are beginning to free up quite quickly. And those which still got parts, which we're not going to get till 2024, I think it's probably going to come in from 2024 and it's going to be sometime in 2023. But it's going to be by supplier. There's no such thing as it's by industry, it's by sector, it really is by supplier that we have. The issue that we have is that we got over 1,200 suppliers, so it's we just hope that a whole raft of those 1,200 actually come forward and actually improve, and we are beginning to see that.
I see it only growing because again, it comes down to modular solutions. If you think about the time and investment that it takes to develop, not only for Raspberry Pi, but in anything, a wireless module, a wireless board, any kind of single board computer, if you don't have to develop the hardware, because that's a huge amount of investment, and if you think about it, there's a lot of analog, there's wireless, everything's included in there, and you have to do a lot of testing. If you can just take a subsystem or a system that you pay maybe a little bit more upfront, but the investment and the time and the energy and the cost is so much more reduced, you now have the opportunity for businesses to start up and really focus on their IP, focus on the differentiation in the software. And obviously software is becoming huge, and everybody's doing programming now in every engineering school. So it's no longer, back when I started out, we were doing Fortran and things like that. Now everybody's doing software. So I think the ability to have these hardware pieces be more modularized and available to everybody, I see it only growing. A lot of people want to develop their own solutions. Every engineer likes to learn. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's their day job or not. So if you can take 3D printing along with new technology and actually make a real change, those are the things that we like to highlight. And that's what drives a lot of interest. That's why people come to the community, because it's really a place for engineers to just go, what's cool, what are people doing out there, what's stuff that I could actually learn from and develop that technology myself. Because let's face it, the best way to learn to code is actually reading existing code and understanding how it works. It's the same with any project. 3D printers are no longer a scarce item. Anybody can get them now. The files are available, so you've got the coding, you've got the files available. These are the kinds of things that people love getting into, and it's also highlighting a need that everybody's concerned about.